Well, welcome everybody to our last session of our Summer Sizzlers series for 2021. We're so glad y'all joined us tonight for the last session. My name is David Preziosi. I'm Executive Director of Preservation Dallas. And before we get started on the presentation tonight, I just want to thank our sponsor for the series this year, McCoy Collaborative. We're so thankful for their sponsorship of this really amazing series that we had. And thank you to Irene for putting this together this year and bringing all the speakers and getting all the sessions coordinated and everything together. It's a lot of work behind the scenes to get it all together. And I thank Irene for her hard work on putting together the series for us this year. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Irene so she can introduce our speaker and we'll get started. Irene.
All right. Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming to our Summer Sizzlers. This is our very last session with Mark Russo. But before we start, I wanted to let you guys know we have 2 events coming up. We have our first in-town outing finally after the pandemic coming up this Saturday. It will be to the Old Red Museum. It'll be Saturday at 10 o'clock. If you go to our website, you can register and get your name on the list to go. It'll be a great tour. It's a beautiful building if you've never been in there before. And then our second in-person event that we're going to have this year is our cemetery tour. It will be on October 30th. So just save the date. We're going to send out some information on that very soon and have the registration link up and ready probably at the end of the week. So now our last session is on the rock wall, and we have Mark Russo. He is a resident of Rockwall County, currently serves on the Rockwall County Historical Commission, and is a past president of the Rockwall County Historic Foundation. If anybody has any questions, just put them in the Q&A at the bottom, and I will ask Mark as they pop up. And if you have any questions at the end, please feel free to put them in there. So I welcome Mark. Oh, I think you're muted, Mark.
Thank you, everyone. It's a great privilege to speak to you today about one of the greatest mysteries in the history of Rockwall County and the city of Rockwall, the namesake of our town and county. How do we get there and what is it all about? I'm excited to share that history with you. So a little bit about the Rockwall and how we got there is Rockwall County was originally a part of Mercer Colony, and then it became part of Henderson County and then switched to Kaufman County. And then there was another great fight and we got carved out to be a 12 by 12 county. And we ended up becoming Rockwall County and based on the rock wall. Well, how did the rock wall, what is the rock wall? What does that mean? Well, so, in 1851, Terry Utley Wade and Benjamin Boydson and Mr. Stevenson discovered a rock wall while digging a water well just on the outskirts of of an area. At that time, it had different names, including Willow Springs and Black Hills. It was on Mr. Wade's property, a site just west of what we would call downtown Rockwall. The name was being sought for the new community at the time. In 1853, they were discussing this, and they recognized there was a uniqueness of the mysterious stone formation, because as they went down, they go, how far does this thing go down? And they kept digging. They went 30 feet down, and they're like, this is a nonstop wall. And they noticed that the features of the wall were unique to anywhere else that they saw. And of course, if you take drives through Arkansas and anywhere in the mountain areas of Tennessee and Oklahoma, when you see the mountain or the rock formations, Rockwall is very different. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to take an actual tour of our rock wall that we have on site. Now, these are stones that were extracted from a site, from a private house and private location. The wall varies with width and hardness from one site to another. And goes from massive to fragile. Geologists are of the opinion that the wall is a natural wall, though unique and phenomenal. Basically, they're saying that it was formed when liquid material from deep within the earth was forced up through cracks, and these are just natural sand dikes. Some archaeologists take an opposite view, that it is more of a man-made ruin where they're using, like in Carthage in North Africa. There are some that also believe that the Caddo Indians actually cultured the stone, extracted stones, and using the East Fork Trinity, similar to like in Egypt, where they used the waterway system as a transport and moved the stones to kind of create a barrier. An interesting artifact that I'm going to show you, I'm going to turn real quickly to show you how that looks right here. You'll see this is a serpent head, and this was actually found in one of the digs on the Wade property, and it was a fossilized segment of a prehistoric aquatic animal, the mosasaur. And so this mosasaur is why some people believe that it was life and that this is part of an ancient civilization. Now, there are some, and I'm going to tell you, if you want to believe that there are giants or aliens, you're free to believe that. Again, there is nothing that I can show you today from a historic perspective, but again, that we're not going to ruin your day by telling you it wasn't giants or aliens. So, but you would still be wrong. But with that, there is a next thing that I am going to show you here. Mr. James Glenn, Dr. James Glenn, this book, I hope you can see it, is a photographic essay on the system of rock walls. And so through the period of time, there has been multiple sightings, and there is, and I'm going to just show the page here. This right here shows a map of 11 locations that have been found in 1950. And this extends into the Collin County area. Two locations they found were located in Collin County. So as we go through here, there are some digs in 1936 as part of the celebration of our state. There was an additional dig that was located. By the way, before I get that, I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to show you this picture. This is the gentleman with the original dig. I can't tell you because of the hats. I can't identify which one's Benjamin Boydston and Mr. Stevenson. I believe this is Mr. Stevenson, and this is Terry Utley Wade and Benjamin Boydston. But I don't know which one is which with the angles. But what you'll see right here, and I'm trying to get, I apologize for the glare, but I'm trying to show you, that was the original well site and the stones, as you can see in the background. And this picture was actually taken in 1852, approximately 6 months after their initial find. This directly behind it is a recreation. This was actually as part of the 100 and the anniversary of the 150 years of Rockwall. This was actually a contest, and a gentleman by the name of Jim Bryant gave this rendering, and this was selected. This statue that you see here is going to be erected. It has been approved. Is going to be on the county courthouse lawn at the old historic courthouse on Washington. And so it's going to be a full-size statue that will be allowed for kids to climb on and experience the history. And this is just a rendering, an artist's rendering of what they saw in 1851. So with that, and as I go through the different periods, I kind of want to walk you through the different periods that we have. So 1852, and then there was some discussion in 1874, a geologist named Richard Burleson examined the exposed sections of wall and was of the opinion that they were indigenous occurrences. And then sorry, I look a little weird there. In 1897, Mr. DeWeese and T.H. Meredith, both laymen, dug a shaft for a well at a cross section of what we call present day 3549 and also Stodgel Road. Before digging the well, they dug a shaft through a cross section, and they found a larger wall, but the stones were wet and so heavy that about 30 feet down, they abandoned the work. In 1901, Dr. Robert Hill, a Texas geologist, published an article about the rock wall and classified them as clastic, denoting rocks composed of broken pieces of older rocks, being the sand dikes. In 1909, Sidney Page published an article in Science magazine, The Rock Wall of Rockwall, Texas. He stated that he was able to, during the past winter, to spend a few days and proved not to be a wall, but a number of disconnected sandstone dikes, strictly speaking, not surrounding the town, but trending in many directions. 1922, an article published in the Dallas Morning News suggested different first discovery of the rock wall. W.S. Adair stated that Mr. Bourne, who was at one of the towns in our old Rockwall area, and there was a Bourne Street, farmed about 50 acres, and some of that land now is where our jail, our Rockwall County Jail, is currently located. But it was also between the East Fork and the Trinity River, which was also the line where our old National Military Road was formed and construed, which was a big piece of our gateway of why people came through to Rockwall. And they would end up in Heath. And Heath is our oldest city in Rockwall County. 1925, archaeologist Count Byron de Perroc. Now, he has been considered by some, not an archaeologist, not some say a modern day Indiana Jones, but truth that a lot of people thought he was a fraud, and he did have some shady past dealings and was controversial. So, and some say he wasn't a count at all. 1925, Dr. R.S. Heyer, former president and professor of physics, concluded the formation was natural. 1927, there was a group out of Smithsonian that pronounced the structure natural. And it was around this time that, as a celebration, whether it was not, there was, and I'm going to show you a picture here, but they prepared a map that discovered all the outcroppings of the rock wall. So in 1936, coincided with the Texas Centennial. I'm going to show you a little picture here. Bear with me. Right here. Let's see if I can show it a little bit better. If you can see there, that was the outcrop. That was a child walking through the Rockwall exposed portion. Right here. There we go. So this is what happened in 1836. You see, there was an actual entrance. They charged 15 cents to 25 cents. And it says, the unsolved mystery, be your own judge. And you would go down and there would be a lemonade stand, Model Ts. And also was you could drive through as part of the Bankhead Highway and the road, the trails that went through there. So, and then you see here, this was another outcropping that was found in 1949. And again, in 1950, as I talked about the outcroppings, James Glenn did his showing and of his outcroppings. In 1959, John Lonsdale denounced the earlier claim asserting that the fault had not been traced with any significance beyond the hill country, and there's no known fault system. So that kind of becomes where we are with the next dig, which happened in 1979. So see if I can share this. And again, I apologize for a little bit of glare. I hope this doesn't take away from our presentation today. But let's see here. So this is from the 1979 dig here. And this shows the kind of original walls. And you'll see there, as I'm going to take you outside, this is similar to what they found. And this is on the property at the Stodgel property, which is 3549 Stodgel Road. Now, there's been some renderings that I will show you too in that same dig. So these are from the dig. So I'm trying to pull this binder out. I'm sorry. Sorry for my unprofessional approach. So you'll see these pictures and you'll notice there's circles. And those are people saying that the reason why there's some to believe this is an ancient civilization is that they believe these are windows and doors and that they saw that. And so you'll see here, this is a composite image of what some saw, but of that same area, you'll see that they kind of show that area. And also some of the excavation. As you'll notice that the symmetrics of this is unique to some. And what you can't see, and you're going to see my finger here, and I apologize. Right in this area right here is where it kind of looped, and there's like a bridge over, and there's like an underpass. And I don't know why they didn't take that, but there is like what looks to be like a doorway. And so that is what created some of this discussion that it is indeed type of a fort, or and that's also what they said, some of the windows, and why you see that design there. And that's why they're saying that it is a clear window and doorway. We recently acquired some of these additional pictures that we did not see before. You'll see here that this is the walls as they were holding the structures up and extracting the walls. These in here, this one's a little heavier, but you'll see here, this is one of the stones that was extracted from the 78 or 79, sorry, wall. This, and these are some of the other, the flatter extractions that we have also procured. Then later on is we did not have any others from 1979. We did not have any other excavations. So around 2012, there were two things that happened in Rockwall. So I was on council at the time, the city of Rockwall, I was mayor pro tem, and we pushed to do a heritage park that would unmask the wall. So in 2012, that original site that I showed you with the question mark, that area, that arch still exists today on private property, on the Canuck property. The wall was covered up. People used to come out in the middle of the night, and a gentleman now who is in his older years, they wanted to uncover it again, but they covered it back because when he was a little child, he would sleepwalk, and they were afraid that he would sleepwalk into this chasm and get hurt. So they covered it up so he wouldn't get hurt. So now David and his wife have wanted to uncover a portion of that for people to see. Well, they came to the city and we proposed a park. We were going to purchase it and create a heritage park. And it actually won an award in 2013 for best outlay. Well, the bond election failed and we did not get that. At that same time, later in 2013, they began a new excavation on the Stodgel property. Miss Sheriff Stodgel, she passed away just a couple of years ago, but it was very important to expose the wall. So they did that in honor of the original dig, so people could see that no, there's really a rock wall and we can find it easily. So they went back and they opened it, and people from all around came to see the wall again. So we exuded some stones from that project, which we then recreated onto Rockwall property. And I will now take you on a little trip to see that. And as we go there, is there any questions as I take you on a little journey? And it's going to be a little disjointed on our view, but I want to take you outside. So bear with me. Any questions at this time? We are in this, by the way, I'm going to show you real quickly where we are located. This is the Manson Lumber Row House and Hartman, and also it's the Bowles House. Now, this house was actually built in 1848 by Mr. Bowles. And as we walk through, you'll see our grounds. We placed it in between our newest acquisition, which is the Bailey House. And this actually is where we're at. So you'll see that we do have this recreation of the rock wall. This is not naturally here, but I do want to take you through and show you this wall. And what I want you to notice here each time, and I want you to follow my fingers so you don't see, one of the discourses and where some people make their arguments is two things. One is about machinery, and is the machinery that excavated this, is it part of the problem? But what I can't answer that, but I can tell you, if you notice, there is like an edge to each one that's consistent on every stone. And so I want you to see here, to each stone that I do, it matches. And so that has caused some to argue that that is proof that it was a manipulation of a culture or society that did manipulate and relocate these stones previously. You will also notice as I go down that for the most part, they're relatively similar in size. Each stone is similar. And there are some gaps, but again, they are replaced and they were mapped out. We had an architect come out and map out each stone as they were removed and placed back as they were found. Now, but the relative size of these stones are consistent. If you go anywhere else, I think that's why some people get upset, because it's unique, is if you drive along through 35 and you go through Oklahoma, every stone is disjointed. You go through Tennessee, majority of those stones are disjointed as you drive through. So seeing something like this uncovered, there are people to say, how is it so symmetrically figured out? How is that not man-made? Now, again, I will allow you your own interpretation of that. So, and then we have here on this land, we do allow, this is a marker that we have, and this was the Stodgel farm, W.W. Stodgel, on his discovery, and this was in 1979. By the way, our museum was founded in 78. So some of the things that you're seeing was based on our historical foundation. So we started showing more interest, and that is basically the tour of the outside. Any questions?
All right. Let's see. Let me see if I've got any questions. So does anybody have any questions for Mark? Everyone's very quiet today.
And again, looks like we got a question.
Oh, yeah. So someone says, tell us more about what is in the House Museum.
Okay, so, well, great. I would love to show you. So that's products for sale. But what we have here, this, if you look up here, this is a plaque on the USS Rockwall. Eisenhower commissioned a small boat, and you'll see that this was created by the Kaiser Company in 1944. And so it was basically commissioned because it was the smallest ship in the fleet, and Eisenhower wanted to name it after the smallest county in Texas. So kind of unique, a little bit of fun storytelling there. And then, of course, we go through some of our old typewriters. We had a paper, which actually one of the articles, the Rockwall County, over the Rockwall, Texas success. Again, this house also was home of the first dentist, and I'm going to take you a walk through here. The first female dentist in Texas ever was located right here, Dr. LaMoreau. And so you'll see here, this is her dental certificate and her dentist chair. Now, I don't know if I trust to get my teeth removed in that, but that was her actual, some of her clothes and some of the things that we have from her estate. Later on, there was Myrta Castle Manson was Dr. Hal Manson, which was also a resident of this house. And she was a taxidermist. And these are some of her animals that she did taxidermy for. So that is unique. And again, this house was originally built by W.B. Bowles, Watson Bowles. And it was originally a shack, and I'll show you kind of a rendering here. The light's going to be a little bit of a burden, but this is what it originally, scale model, what it originally looked like originally. We relocated this house in 1981, and it has been present day. We have a lease with the city of Rockwall. And 3 years ago, we moved the Bailey house. It was donated. It was a 1919 house, which was owned by Tite Bailey, which you'll see. That is the house that's right through the window there. And that's our newest acquisition. We also have a gazebo that we allow weddings and is rented out. And that was actually built by Mr. Henry Squires. And all throughout Rockwall County, Mr. Squires built almost every gazebo in town. And every city had a gazebo. And he thought that was important. The city of Fate recently tore theirs down, but there's some located in all our cemeteries, and they all were designed by Mr. Squires. Outside in the back of our property, we also have a tenant cabin that was located on the Pullen Farm, one of our longest ranchers. And so, oh, by the way, the dentistry, if you notice here, was originally from Michigan. So that is, and then we have some, going through one of the bedrooms, just showcasing that. If I'm going too fast, I apologize. And then we go in our back of our kitchen. And then we also, if you look out the window, you'll see we just added 3 years ago as well, a well, and that is our, and we paint that regularly. We whitewashed it. So that not a big museum, but we are open to the public. We are free. We do give tours, and we do give tours for the schools, and we do have just some other objects that if you want to come see, we are open. Marcy, when are we open?
Tuesday through Friday, 1 to 5.
Tuesday through Friday, 1 to 5, and
Saturday, 10 to 5.
Saturday, 10 to 5. And so that is.
And Mark,
That's what
can
it
you
is.
tell us
Yes.
where the Bowl House is located in Rockwall?
It is located at on Washington Street. Is it 4? I always get the numbers.
901.
901, and there's 904. So 901 Washington, 901 East Washington, and 904 East Washington is location of the Bailey House.
Okay. And then the other question, I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
One is, now that we've seen the wall, can you tell us again the dimensions and how far it runs?
So the dimensions, according to, depending where you are, they vary. I don't have the exact dimensions today that I can tell you, but they run all throughout the county. They're not consistent. It doesn't run east to west. It doesn't run. It doesn't run the same line. It does kind of run in a squared pattern, which was another reason why they believe it's more of a fort, more of a squared wall versus versus a long great wall. So I know that there was a show. I know that there was a guy involved in a TV show that went there a few years ago, and they said it was known as the Great Wall of Rockwall, and it was longer than the Great Wall of China. Again, I think that with the essays that we had in 1950, I don't think that the museum is saying that.
Okay. And then I think you sort of answered another one. Someone asked if you were involved with a TV show, the archaeoastrology guy who came.
Yeah, so that was uncovered with, what was his name again?
From America Unearthed.
American Unearthed.
And
Yeah, so yeah, he came and did it, and there was some issues, I think, that when we talked about, they did core samples, and that was one of the arguments. They say it was magnetized, but one of the questions and debates that we have heard is that sometimes that the magnetization of the stones could be interrupted by equipment, and that was one of the people, that's one of the arguments people say, well, you don't know that. But I think the majority of people are saying that, is it not stone? And I think there's a little bit of confusion of saying, hey, you're saying that's not really stone. I don't think anyone has said that. I think that it's an actual natural stone, but it's been cultured in some way. Obviously, it's a stone. And I think that's where some people get confused in that discussion of what natural and man-made is. No, we don't think that someone poured a casting stone and made it naturally. But I do think that it has been cultured in a sense of modified by the civilization.
Gotcha. And then I've got one last question. Someone has asked about how long in feet or yards are the parts of the wall altogether that have been discovered so far? Like how many do you think that is?
They're approximately about 2 feet apart, and they're about the height is about a half a foot. So they're about 2 feet long. So, and about 1 foot high each stone, about half a foot high. Sorry.
And so how many feet together total do you think you found of walls in the county?
Oh, no, that is a number I can't tell you, because so when they dug, there's a lot, but there's been no actual logging of the coverage of that. So when they were digging the Lake Ray Hubbard, when they were digging, there were some people that went out when they were uncovering it, and they saw some of the wall located in Lake Ray Hubbard. So I don't know that I can give you an honest answer on that, because there's been so many outcroppings and so many instances that people, but I don't think anyone's logged the length or that total amount.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, I think those are all the questions. Does anyone have any more questions for Mark?
And by the way, that was Scott Walter for the Unearthed show.
No, okay. All right, well, Mark, thank you so much for taking us on a tour of your museum and of the rock wall. We really appreciate it. I got some comments here. They said, very cool find and presentation. I had no idea. So I'm glad that we were able to share this information with our members.
Well, I'm really honored.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And so everyone, we hope that you'll get a chance to come down and see Old Red on Saturday. Just visit our website and you can register for the event, and we will see you then. Bye-bye, everyone.